Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. If I should disappear from YouTube or social media for good, you guys know that I went across the street with the shovel and beat one of my best friends to death. Oh, he's annoying me today. He's got a sawmill. He's doing woodwork here and I was trying to get a video done outside, and of course every time I started to push play, so I had to come in here in the hot room and close the door and close the windows. So if I start sweating profusely, that's the reason why, but no big deal. He works, there's noise here, there's going to be noise. That's life. Life is messy sometimes. And if that's the biggest thing I have to deal with, the biggest obstacle and challenge I have to deal with, I got it pretty good. Anyhow, I just thought today we'd talk a little bit of practicality, practical tips on switching to a raw vegan, a high raw vegan lifestyle. And I'm kind of taking this, this is not from the very beginning to the end. I'm kind of like, this one's more for the people that are trying to kind of switch over into raw, that are already, you know, mostly that are vegan, definitely vegan, maybe already eating high carb vegan, but are trying to get a little bit more raw. You know, everybody seems to be wanting to be as raw as they can be these days, but I know a lot are not. So don't give me the requisite. Don't give me a comment. I'm not trying to be raw, or I don't want to be raw. If you don't want to be raw, don't be raw. I'm only talking about the people that are trying to go into be raw, and maybe just giving a little practical advice, another spin on it, just a little application, because. So I watch stuff and I hear other people talk all the time. I'm not sure. Listen, I think sometimes I almost come across as judgmental, but it's just things that I just don't understand. Like somebody that's vegan, they're high carb vegan, talking about trying to eat raw vegan and trying. And I try to eat raw vegan every day, but I don't succeed. And that's like, I don't even quite understand that. It's like, how do you try to eat raw vegan? I've been raw vegan for a long time, for a good bit of time now, and I don't think I ever tried. I don't think I ever tried at the beginning. It's like if you decide today you're going to eat raw, I make a salad. How does somehow that salad morph in? Like, how do I try to make a salad and fail and end up eating cooked food? Do you just kind of go unconscious, or do you just go into a frenzy? What I'm getting at is I want to like give a little bit more of my Psych 101 to you here. The mind... People can be very susceptible to ideas, and I think people are planting it in people's heads that it's hard. Oh, it's this big hard thing to go raw vegan. Now, yeah, not everybody's doing it. Not everybody's doing it every day. You should go from you should go through a proper transition. You know, when you're going, especially when you're going from standard American diet to high carb vegan, because you know you're getting, you know, there is going to be detox involved. There's going to be a little bit of discomfort as you're replacing all the garbage you ate in your life with clean stuff. But then that next step from high carb vegan to raw vegan, I just think people are overthinking it. And people are telling you it's supposed to be a struggle. And I think people go into it expecting to struggle, knowing they're going to struggle, thinking maybe they're the personality type that's susceptible and just struggling. And, you know, all of this stuff, all these little things we talk about are just placing ideas in people's heads. Placing ideas in people's heads that this may have never even come up for them. One of the things that just, like, the conversations bother me sometimes is about this whole emotional eating thing. And I think that the conversations about emotional eating are some of the biggest impediments to eating a fully raw lifestyle, because people are putting that kernel of doubt into other people's minds. And it's like, you know, and it's almost like the mind is looking for an excuse not to succeed. Well, I'm supposed to be, you know, I'm all caught up in emotional eating. You know, I'm not saying, kind of like, you know, when I talk about metabolic damage, and I'm like, not that this has anything to do with that, but just the concept of like, you know, I'm telling you, like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, metabolic damage. I'm not saying emotional eating does not exist, but it's not this hardcore addiction that people are making it out to be. Let me adjust that just a little bit. It's not this hardcore addiction for most people. I don't believe a large percentage of people actually have like a bona fide food addiction. They're just hearing that word. It's getting in their head. it becomes a possibility, and every time they don't want to, every time they get weak a little bit and they're like, well, I'm not going to see, they pull that out. Well, I didn't succeed, or I wasn't able to do it because of emotional eating. So, just like I'm saying, I don't want to get in any arguments over people. I'm sure emotional eating does exist, but it's not this huge factor that people are making out to be. So don't get all caught up in the addiction, emotional eating stuff, and let that psych you out. Like I say, not to start an argument there, just don't be susceptible to having a thought placed in your head that you might not have even come up with in the first place. Like I say, as I always do, it's just like all I've got down is jotted down some random notes on just simple approaches. I don't try to get into all this complicated, do this specific thing in this day. Know your reason. The biggest thing is to know your reason. I just had a nice meeting with a couple of lovely ladies at a hotel on the beach, talking a little business, and we were talking about very similar to that. Know the reasons you're doing what you're doing. So many times people are doing it, I shouldn't say for the wrong reasons, but what I'm getting at here is, like, people are trying to be raw because in other words, they don't know their reason. When you know why you're being raw, or when you know why you're being vegan, it's like I was explaining, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I was explaining, like, when I became vegan, I was telling them my story of how when I first became vegan, that it was just as simple for me. It was like, we were talking about meat. I didn't immediately, you people are full of shit that are all out there, ew, meat, it's terrible, it's gross. No, I just decided not to eat it. Right now, a plate of ribs, I'm not going to lie, it looks good, it's appealing. I know what it would do to my body, and that's what I told them, that it was just like, I didn't have a choice. I didn't put it up for an option. Once I became educated and knew what this thing did to me, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I had a reason. I had a reason not to do it. It was just like if here's a bottle of water over here, I would drink, and then somebody tells me, well, there's some rat poison in there. Well, I'm not going to sit around and rationalize that. There's rat poison in there. I'm not going to drink it. So know your reason. I'm just going to go over a few more little tricks. Little tricks. It's not about some big leap. It's about, like, if you want to throw it in baseball terminology, it's about ground balls. It's like getting singles, knocking out singles and doubles instead of a big home run, or doing things in big leaps. You use little tips and you get there little by little, tick, 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 tick. You want to eat, you know what, if you're having that hard time, and if it's like you can eat raw all through the day with your smoothies and whatever, and night is the hard part, you've got to go as hearty as possible. Eat a hearty meal, get something really savory. Eat as much of it as possible. Don't worry so much about that fat. When you're making that transition and really trying to go high raw vegan, I'm not saying go nuts and do all the gourmet raw, but I'm just saying don't necessarily try to be like 5% or like extremely low raw fat as you're switching to a raw vegan lifestyle. Another strategy I like a lot, because even with me, I use this a lot of different things in my life. It's almost like there's a reward at the end of the tunnel. And I would guarantee this. Like I say, I wish sometimes I had money, or I wish I could just say, okay, you come, I'm going to take you from vegan to high raw vegan, and I'm going to take you like that. Here's one I would really suggest strongly. Have your cooked meal at night twice a week. And do it something like on Saturday and Tuesdays. Saturdays and Tuesdays, Saturdays and Wednesdays. Because you're splitting the week up there. Okay, you eat a nice cooked meal on Saturday. You've got Sunday, Monday. You got 2 days. So one of those days, Sunday, you have a big salad. Monday, maybe you have zoodles, or you have a green soup, or something else. And then Tuesday, you're back to eating a cooked dinner. It just gives you a little something to hold on to. And you're only eating 2 cooked meals a week like that. Or even a little step, and you could do that twice a week, or you could do this every night. Maybe if you still have that, doing it just 2 nights, I think anybody can do that. I don't even want to plant that negativity, because I'm almost doing what I talked about in the beginning, but almost anybody could do that. But if you don't want to get into eating a whole, like a fully cooked meal, like maybe having steamed sweet potatoes and some legumes or some broccoli, or just having your whole meal, cooked, you could have one item. If it's just the heat type thing, So have your big salad at night, and have some steamed broccoli on the side with it. You know, just little strategies like that. I'm not giving you specifics. You know, those are just little things you might try to get you. But I want to see more doing and not trying. Because, you know, and people don't like that message. It just pokes, it hits home, but it really is. It goes back to the wisdom of Yoda. And, you know, there's always exceptions. I have to say that every time because people do not have good reading and or listening comprehension. There's exceptions, but a lot of people, like I say, are just getting psyched out because they're thinking they can't do it. To be quite honest, and this may be, like I say, this is not judging and this is not saying, well, you're doing it wrong or you're less than, but this is actually to take some of the pressure off. If you're already vegan, if you're vegan, even no matter how much raw you're eating, you know, if you're vegan and you're high carb, as long as you're not junk food vegan, if you're even remotely health oriented, if you're vegan, high carb vegan, it really should be almost like that to go to raw vegan. I think what's tripping people up, and I'll say this one more time and then this will be how we finish off the video, is I think people are more successful than they let on, or they could be more successful. They would actually be healthier and more successful at a raw vegan lifestyle if they weren't so obsessed with the label. They try to be like, I never want to eat another bite of cooked food again. They're not ready for that. Maybe they're never going to be ready for that. And because they're stubborn and they have to have that mentality, yeah, they're going to eat a lot more cooked food than they would have ended up eating if they'd just had themselves a strategy or wasn't so fanatic and was just able to say, okay, well, you know what? I feel like a little bit of steamed broccoli. I need something hot tonight. I feel like some steamed broccoli with my meal, or I feel like a steamed sweet potato. You know, I mean, it's not going to. I'm sorry, you're getting into some culty, crazy, like, ooh, if I eat one bite of raw. And yeah, I know a few of you have disorders, so don't tell me about those either. I'm always talking in generalities. I'm not talking about that exception or that anomaly, but don't psych yourself out. It's really not that hard to make the switch. Just know why you want to make the switch, have a plan to make the switch, and do it. And develop your own little plans like that. Like I say, these tips are just like, I'm constantly just trying to, I'm not trying to do a polished video or giving you some sort of a set strategy. I'm just ballparking. I'm always trying to think. I'm listening on social media to what people say, to different problems that people have, and I'm just trying to come up with practical, everyday, like little tricks to maybe get you, maybe I can't help you with too many things, but maybe I'll help you with one little aspect of something, or one little tip resonates for you, because I know that's how it is with me, with people sometimes. Just one little kernel of what they said. They may not say anything else that I can use, but that one little kernel is big and it helps me. Anyhow, hope you guys like this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you're having a happy hump day. See you guys. Love you. Peace.